Okay, what up ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot, and today I'm here to talk about the Necromancer. You guys have been waiting for the updated late game build for the Necromancer. I've had questions about it every single day, so I'm finally delivering, okay? Alright, I hope you guys are ready for this. Now I'm just going to give you guys a few little things before we get into the video, alright? Like this video right now if you want to support my content. The more likes we get, the better. The more this video goes out to people. So hit that like button before we carry on. Other than that, what I want to say is that if you want a thorough discussion on the skills and everything, you can go to the early and mid game video. Alright, if you don't know how to find it, just leave a comment. I'll help you find it. Alright, but you should be able to find the season 1 version of this. What I am going to do is I'm going to give you guys a quick summary of the skills. Review of the Book of the Dead, and then we're going to go focus on paragons, gear, aspects, all that kind of stuff, because that one's more important for the late game, especially gear. Okay? Alright, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, let's begin with the skill tree. Okay, I'm going to show you what I have right now, and I will give you an overview of what we've got. So I'm not going to remove my camera for this, I'm just going to go through it with you really quickly. Okay, so first things first, Hemorrhage is still the ideal choice as your basic. Why? Because it is hit scan. There is no projectile, so it instantaneously hits the enemy. It is very useful. Alright, Enhanced Hemorrhage initiates Hemorrhage for that lovely Fortify. It also helps you with healing, so I prefer this. Bone Spear, of course, maxed out. Enhanced Bone Spear, Paranormal Bone Spear, same as the skill build video for the early and mid game. Okay, Unliving Energy and Imperfectly Balanced. Imperfectly Balanced still hasn't been fixed. There's only 1 point available. There should be 3, so you can take them out of Corpse Explosion later. Hewed Flesh, maxed out, of course. Blood Mist for your survival. This is when things become unstoppable and you really need to reposition. Corpse Explosion, of course, with Blighted Corpse Explosion and Enhanced Corpse Explosion. Alright, this is excellent for dishing out extra damage and also applying the Darkness effect. Grim Harvest for Essence, Fueled by Death for extra damage, Death's Embrace for extra damage reduction in close proximity to enemies and a small multiplier. Death's Reach is a much larger multiplier for distant enemies, very excellent. Okay, Corpse Tendrils, about 3 points is enough, and the 4th is coming from an item. But basically, Enhanced Corpse Tendril, Plague Corpse Tendrils, this is standard across the board, very useful. You've got your Serration maxed out, Compound Fracture, Evulsion maxed out. Here, you want your Standalone maxed out for damage reduction, Memento Mori to boost your sacrifice bonuses, and last but not least, you've got Ossified Essence, which would drastically up the power of your bone skills. Alright, so that's it for your skills, and that is just a quick summary of what you have. Again, if you want the detailed explanation, head on over to the early and mid game video where that is talked about in detail. Next, for Book of the Dead, we're still doing the same thing. You sacrifice the Skirmishers for the extra critical chance. You sacrifice the Cold Mages for the extra vulnerable damage, alright? And for the Blood Golem, you keep it on your first skill so that it absorbs 15% of the damage you would take, alright? This Blood Golem, now this only works while it's alive, so if it's not alive, you're not gonna have that absorption, but this is so good at preserving you. So good at preserving you. So I love having that. Okay, that covers the skill build and the Book of the Dead. Now, we're going to get into the actual meat of this build. What are you doing at level 70? Well, here is the Paragon tree. Time to discuss. Now, once again, you can check the planner for a detailed overview of this so that you can also copy the Paragon Path, and I can show you where I put all my points and everything. But I'm going to show you the overall nodes that I've taken and why I've taken those nodes. I'm not going to waste any time on the glyph explanation. Alright, if you really are curious about the glyphs, you can ask me either on stream or in the comments. But I'm going to tell you what is best suited for the late game. Okay? Alright, so starting your Paragon tree, you want to go up the right hand side and get your prime node for damage, obviously. It comes with a bit of max life and you can grab an extra 2% max life here. Okay, you want to go to the center as soon as you can and grab the glyph socket. Here, Exploit Glyph is a must-have. This is the first glyph that you are going to advance up to 15, because it's just absolutely crucial that you dish out more vulnerable damage, and this is the glyph that'll help you do it. So Exploit is your first and most important glyph. All right, you want to capture points here for damage. You want to capture your knowledge node. And after you have the dexterity requirement, you want to get a little extra armor. I did this only after World Tier 4. If you don't feel that you need the extra armor, thanks to the armor coming from Malignant Hearts and all that, you don't need to worry about that, okay? All right, after that, I moved on to the second board. The second board is Bone Graft. Your Bone Graft board is going to be the ultimate important board for pretty much everything you need. Now, last season, I went and grabbed this tenacity area, but this season I haven't done so. Why? Because you've already got a lot of extra armor coming in. If you really do need the max life later on, you can come down here and grab it, but I haven't done so thus far. I went up the left-hand side, same as we did last season, got the Bone Graft legendary node, grabbed the Entomb rare node for extra critical strike chance with bone skills. I got the Calcified node here for extra critical strike damage and all that. I got the Reinvigorate node as well, because maximum essence contributes directly to your damage, allows you to mag dump more bone spears on the enemy. Then I went up this side and grabbed the glyph socket. Here I put in the essence glyph. Why? The increased critical strike damage is so worth it, and this is the second node that you're going to level up to 15. First, you're going to work on your exploit. Once that's at 15, then you want to work on your essence glyph socket, okay? You want to work on your essence glyph. You don't need to grab what's above because this is based on dexterity. So all you really want to do is just grab the Shaper of Bone so you can access this node later. And later on, you'll get plenty of dexterity bonuses from here as well. So that is pretty much it. All right. There's an extra dexterity node that you'll be able to grab later, but obviously not now. So all of that will come in and boost your essence to a phenomenal extent. Let me just say that. So this is pretty good. Yeah. All right. After you're done with this, you'll want to now, because you've captured this glyph socket here, you can actually just spend 5 points and capture another board. I highly recommend the Scent of Death. Once again, we got this last season, and it is so useful because with at least 2 corpses nearby, you've got 15% damage reduction. With no corpses nearby, you deal 15% increased damage. Very good for your opening shot when you don't have any corpses. It gives you a nice little multiplier effect. And when you do have corpses around you, like when you're in the thick of combat, oh, the damage reduction is just absolutely amazing. And it is what will keep you alive throughout a lot of things, okay? So this is why the Scent of Death board was chosen. Now, after you access this board, what I did was, you don't really need this node on the right. So I went up the left-hand side, and I got Ruin. Why is Ruin so crucial? Because Ruin comes with critical strike damage. As you know, critical strike damage is a multiplier, and it's extremely important. So I ignored the damage to healthy enemies because once you fulfill the dexterity requirement, you get 50% damage to healthy enemies, and that's usually enough to trigger a one-shot on them. You don't really need more. However, if you ever feel that you need more one-shotting power, you can grab up to another 37.5% damage to healthy enemies here. So if you got the spare points later and you feel like you really need that one-shot power when the enemies are still healthy and at full health, you can grab these 3, okay? So save that for later. I plan on going down the right. After I grabbed the Scent of Death, I went down the right because there's critical strike damage here. All right, plenty of critical strike damage nodes. I plan on grabbing this L. Get it? This L? All right. Then, so this is the only L I'll ever take. Then after that, I'll come up here, go here, and grab this glyph socket. Which glyph is going in here? Once again, it's going to be Imbiber. Much as I discussed last season. Sorry, I discussed it during the preseason, but Imbiber is great because the extra increased damage while healthy, meaning while you are healthy, okay, is really excellent for opening shots as well. So as long as you're not in the thick of combat, which you usually won't be with the Bone Spear build, you can take serious advantage of Imbiber and completely wreck enemy face. So this is why I use that particular glyph. All right. After that, I will try and solidify plans for the later stages. But for now, just know that this is the ideal choice. All right. Imbiber functions off willpower. So once you grab this node, right, you'll just want to grab all the willpower that's nearby. Which is why I'm going to go up here, grab this, go up here, grab that, here, grab this. And you will once you advance Imbiber enough, be able to grab all of these extra nodes as well. All right. Unfortunately, you have to go past here and get death marked, but the extra damage towards injured enemies is semi-useful against bosses. Once they're low, you can finish them off. So, although this is not very useful for combat, there are plenty of good nodes that you can grab all around it. So, yeah, you just want to focus on willpower because this one has a lot of opportunities for willpower. That said, you can also choose to, if you'd like, focus on dexterity here and swap one of the other nodes, swap one of the other glyphs later. I'm probably going to play around with that toward the end game. But yeah, Imbiber is going to be the third glyph that I work on. And that's, again, much like we discussed in the preseason, there aren't really a lot of good choices for the Bone Spear Necro. I really wish there were, but there really aren't. So you're kind of up the creek without a paddle. But you just take what you can get, you know, do what you can. That's more or less good enough. So Imbiber is your so-called best choice, all right? And that is it for your Paragon tree, all right? That is your Paragon tree for the late game, which covers roughly up to about level 70 and assumes that you've gotten all your renown bonuses. I know this is a serious area of contention, but these bonus Paragon points are extremely useful and you're gonna need them, all right? Okay, that covers the skills, Book of the Dead, Paragon. Now, let's go into the real meat of the thing. I'm sure you guys are wondering gear, aspects, all this kind of stuff. We're going to discuss that now. And this will be an in-depth discussion, so please, you know, hold on to your horses and get ready for this, okay? Let's start first of all with Malignant Hearts. As discussed in the early and mid-game video, there has been no real change to the Malignant Hearts. I'm still using, and let me pull up the list. I always do this in every video, but it's just easier for me to do this live and also explain it along the way. But in terms of the hearts that we are going to use, we are more or less using the Sacrilegious Heart, which is a vicious heart. That's this one. The Sacrilegious Heart allows you, when walking near a corpse, to automatically activate a corpse skill every second. All right? The Corpse Tendrils activates roughly every 3 seconds. Corpse Explosion activates every second. So it automatically activates a Corpse Explosion, although it does give you a bit of a haircut to damage. However, I've noticed that even though mine is like 28% reduced damage, it has very little impact because a lot of your damage is not coming from the Corpse skills. It's coming from the Bone Spear. All right? So that is what I've got here. Then for my second heart, this is the anything heart. You can use whatever you want in whatever socket. However, ideally, I recommend a brutal socket so that you can insert the aura, the Decrypify aura, which is somewhere inside here. Let me go to my storage. I have one. The Decrypit aura heart, okay, you will wear, like I've got one that says when at least one enemy is near you. You can basically, one enemy is enough. You don't have to get the version that has 0 on it, because the one enemy version is enough to trigger the aura on a boss, which will reduce its damage by 20% and cause a slowing effect all around you. However, I haven't found a ring that can replace this amazing ring that I have. Although this one is kind of stuck with a devious slot, so I've got no choice. I'm using this for now, but this is basically your anything slot. You can function just fine even without the Decrypit aura. If you want to use the Barber heart or some other Wrathful heart, go right ahead. Basically, you've got the Vicious heart is a must-have, but this one is optional. Last but not least, you want another Brutal socket. Why? Because the Brutal socket allows you to use the Brutal Heart of Revenge. This is a general heart that drops in World Tier 3 and above, but this general heart is so potent that it can basically act like damage reduction. Alright, so this one absorbs 19% of incoming damage. It reduces the damage that I take by 19%. It's great. Alright, and then when I Blood Mist, I blow the damage back out. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. So yeah, try to look for one that has maximized reduction and you'll probably be good to go. Yeah. Okay. So that is it. That is it. And that is it for the Malignant Hearts. And I hope you guys understood all that. Next, we're going to talk about legendary aspects. All right. Now, I'm going to first tell you what aspects are absolutely crucial, like the must-have aspects, and then after that, I'll go through the optional aspects, okay? In terms of your must-have aspects, Splintering Aspect, which goes onto your two-handed weapon, will allow Bone Spear's primary attack to make enemies hit beyond the first vulnerable enemy. Sorry, enemies hit beyond the first vulnerable for 4.6 seconds in this case, because it doubles the amount of time that it makes them vulnerable, and it will deal a bonus 123% damage to vulnerable enemies and pierce them. So by making targets vulnerable, your Bone Spear's Splinter Shards will pierce them and deal a huge amount of bonus damage. This used to be a lot more, but it was drastically nerfed, and I understand why. However, this is still one of the best aspects for you, and it must go onto a two-handed weapon. Okay? Next is the aspect that goes onto your necklace, Grasping Veins. This one is also from the Codex of Power. You can use the Codex of Power version for both of these. Alright, as you can see, the one on my necklace is the Codex of Power version, the base version. It will give you critical strike chance up to 30% and increase critical strike damage to enemies damaged by Corpse Tendril. If you find a maxed out version of this, your damage goes to very silly levels. So it was nerfed from the past, but still very, very good. So I highly encourage you to put this on your amulet to take advantage of the bonus, the two-handed bonus, which will make the Splintering Aspect do 100% more than it normally does, and the necklace makes whatever the Grasping Veins do 50% more than it normally does. So do that. Yeah? Okay. Now, here's the next part. The next necessary aspect is called the Serration Aspect. This one is a drop-only aspect, but it will allow your Ossified Essence to increase the critical strike damage of your bone skills by 1% per essence above 50 up to 40%. So technically you will always be able to take advantage of this. And this is just so strong. I love using it. I love abusing it. It does so much damage. All right. Then the rest are optional aspects, and I'm going to go through the optional stuff now. I'm currently using Edge Masters. Of course, it's really good for this build. I'm also using the Cadaverous aspect, which when you consume a corpse, it'll increase the damage of your next core skill by 10% up to 50%, so 5 corpses, yeah? This pairs perfectly with your Vicious Heart that automatically detonates corpses, so you're basically always, you know, getting a good bonus on your stuff. It may not always be the maximized bonus, but you can get continuous bonuses, which is really good, okay? So this season, I put that on my gloves. My boots, I'm using Penitent Greaves, but you can literally use any aspect on your boots that you want. Your chest piece should still have the aspect of Disobedience, and for the pants, aspect of Might, standard, yeah. The helmet, I haven't even put an aspect in because I haven't decided on anything. Normally, I would have Deathless Visage in my helmet slot, but I haven't found one. So just to prove to you, I've been doing all this insane stuff with the Necro without Deathless Visage and with just a base helmet. Alright, with no legendary aspect. So if you don't have Deathless Visage, just get a helmet with maximum essence, total armor, cooldown reduction, and slap in whatever aspect you want. Alright, there we go. That's literally all I've got, and this is what has been getting my Necro through everything. It is so strong and so good. Now, we've talked about aspects. Now it's time to talk about gear. Alright, in terms of the gear stats, this is crucial that you pay attention. For your two-handed weapon, of course, go for damage per second first. Then you want to look for the two main stats, vulnerable damage, critical strike damage. After that, core skill damage is crucial. These three are your big three. Your fourth damage stat can be anything, but try to choose something that will work together with whatever you already have. In my case, I chose damage to affected by shadow damage over time enemies. So I'm always triggering Corpse Explosion. This helps me deal more damage to those particular enemies, okay? Yeah, so this is a pretty damn good sword. For my rings, critical strike chance is the first and most important thing. After that, critical strike damage and vulnerable damage. But if you cannot get that, try to get damage-related stats, okay? But critical strike chance is your first and most important. Same here with this ring. I've got critical strike chance, critical strike damage, vulnerable damage. This one has 3 big important stats. Max life is a bonus, but not necessary on the rings because you should have them on your chest piece and legs instead, okay? For the amulet, what you need is movement speed, cooldown reduction, and that's it. You can go for movement speed and cooldown reduction and essence cost. Ideally, you want essence cost, but this one had corpse skills, bone skill damage. It was pretty good overall. So although I didn't get essence cost on it, I am still using this, and I haven't found a better one that contains a brutal slot. So that's been my struggle. In terms of the armor, for the helmet, as I mentioned before, max essence is your first and most important thing, because you're also going to see this on your Deathless Visage. The rest that I would try to put on it is total armor and maximum life if you can. Alright, keeps you alive. For your chest piece, max life, damage reduction, either close or distant. And one thing which I'll say is that if I choose like to go, say, damage reduction close, I'll choose the opposite on my pants, damage reduction distant, so that I always have as much damage reduction as possible. But ideal stats, I would want damage reduction close, damage reduction distant, max life, and last but not least would be total armor. Okay, that is what I would prefer for both, but I haven't found the ideals one yet. Still, it's been working just great. No trouble here. Okay, for your gloves. Critical strike chance, attack speed, ranks of bone spear. These three are the most crucial. After that, guess what? You can actually roll critical strike damage with bone skills on your gloves, which is what I did, and this boosted up my damage. Some people like to roll lucky hit. I don't bother with that. I would rather have the critical strike damage. So this is a perfect roll on the gloves. Of course, not the maximum roll that I can get, but this is the perfect ideal for the gloves, and I probably won't replace these until I get another one with exactly the 4 stats that I need. Yeah? Okay, great. Pants, I've already discussed it together with the chest piece. For your boots, please get something that has the maximum possible movement speed. All right? Ideally, you want boots with maxed out movement speed. You want essence cost reduction on your boots as well. These two are your key stats, and then after that, anything else will work just fine. Total armor, max life, whatever you can get. All right, I recommend defensive stats over offensive stats, obviously because survival is key, and realistically, you're going to be dealing so much damage anyway that survival is more of an issue than damage. Okay, just so you know. So I'm only using the Penitent Greaves right now because this has the highest movement speed, and you need to prioritize movement speed because the Necro has no movement skills, so you need to be able to move as fast as possible. Okay, that covers gear. Okay, finito, done. We've covered legendary aspects, malignant hearts, gear. In terms of gems, I'll just keep it simple. Rubies in your armor, emeralds in your weapon. There should be no deviation from this. Why? Emeralds allow you to deal critical strike damage to vulnerable enemies, increased, alright, which is very useful. And rubies increase your maximum life. Alright, make sure that you craft the royal versions of these once you start getting enough flawless drops. And basically that covers it for the Necro. This is how to build a full-on Bone Spear Necro for late game, alright? And this is what you've seen me use on stream. The next update will come at level 90 when we cover the end game, when we cover what we've done up until this point, and I show you guys the finished off Paragon board. Now, there'll be 10 levels to go, of course, but that one I can just guesstimate in the planner. Yeah, because we'll have a very clear idea of what we want to do by then. Okay. Now, before I move on, all right, we've got to give thanks. It is a new month. It is my birthday this month. 1st August was my birthday. And, of course, the top supporters for the month have reset. So you can come and grab your place now if you wish, okay? If you so wish to grab your place, know that you could do so. Let me just pull up the list, because there are some additions to this list that I want to, you know, basically thank properly, but they need to be updated. So I'm actually just pulling up a couple of different lists right now, and then we're gonna, you know, say thank you to all these people at once. Okay. Starting right from the top, here we go. Our top super chatter right now is Marcos Carrillo. All right, thank you so much for being the top super chatter for August. It is still early in the month, but your name is now on the list. We also have other top super chatter, Daryl Neo. Thank you very much. Okay, our top channel membership gifters are Newbie S92 and Boog Slugus. Okay, River Archer is also on that list. Thank you so much, all right, for making it there. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you for being the first ones in August. It is August 1st, so these are our first top supporters for this month. Now, in terms of our memberships, we have right at the tippy top, the amazing Zane Hoagland as the only fan level. Okay, thank you so much. We've got Death Dawning 982 at Plus Ultra. We've got Jerry Fast, OG, Rogue Assassin, Zach MG at Prestige. Thank you guys so much. All right, you guys are amazing. All right. And Death Dawning, thank you for being the longest standing member that we have. Okay. In terms of our honored robots, we have the following individuals: Corey Ryu, Marcel, Kaishiwa, Bob John, Maxim Lotz, Devin Lashin, Mookie Mocha, Rena, Chase Taylor, Nathan Strong, Sabingu, Lady Neo, Joey Danze, Daraverse, Che D12, I'm Peep, Sayed Assad, Coda CMF, Kami SMH, Conrad C, Nate the Great, and Benjamin Savage. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. And now I will do the combat showcase to show you guys exactly how we absolutely mash with the Bone Spear build. Check it out, like, share, and subscribe. Turn my notifications on, hit that bell button, and I'll see you shortly. Okay, what up guys? We are in a tier 30 Nightmare dungeon, just for demonstrative purposes. As you know, in World Tier 4, you're only supposed to kill about 10 levels above you. I can't remember if these guys are 10 levels above. I don't know. Oh, they're 11 levels above. Okay, so perfect for demonstration purposes. 10 is the max level offset that you can get. So this is perfect for showcasing what we do. Basically, if done correctly, your Bone Spear Necro should be able to just one-shot everything. It really shouldn't be too much of a problem, yeah? Even your opening shot, which may not one-shot certain creatures, right? Until you Corpse Tendril them, will still deal significant amounts of damage. And your essence will be, you know, fairly high, as shown. So, usually what I'll do is, I'll pull in all the elites. If I ever get stunned or stuck, I just do that. I heal up, and then it's back in again. It's not difficult to deal with hordes, groups, stuff like that. Your Golem doesn't actually do any damage, FYI, so just use him for survival purposes. But yeah, there's basically no great technique here. Just shoot your Bone Spear at the enemy that you want to kill, and that's basically it. This is even lazier than it was in the preseason. Alright. Oh, and I'm having monsters are taking less damage from close targets. Okay. Cool. If there's multiple explosions, I'll just go Blood Mist mode. It's a good saving grace and tends to work really well. If I really need to, I'll usually wait until Corpse Tendril has pulled an enemy in. That way I can deal maxed out damage. Because without that, it does a lot less damage. My Blood Mist is often used whenever my Bone Golem's dead, or if I really need to slay some enemies, right? I will manually activate Corpse Tendril if the combat situation is like this, where enemies are all gathered up. I'll also manually activate my Corpse Explosion if I need to create a killing field. Okay, this basically helps because the enemies will be hit with the full damage of the Corpse Explosions, which normally it wouldn't be hit by, right? I aggressively position with Blood Mist, and I'll just keep dealing with hordes as they come. Alright, I'll activate my Corpse Tendril skills, double tap most enemies, and then bada bing bada boom, it's done. Of course, I would prefer to one-shot, but sometimes that's just not possible, given the enemy density and situation. So sometimes it's better to do a double shot. Alright, consume some corpses, and then hit them hard where it hurts. Alright, that is literally about it. So as you can see, I'm glad that there was a chest here so I could show a better, like, the way and technique that I use for, you know, big groups, events, things like that. Like I said, it works really well. Nothing too difficult. I know that there's a boss fight here, so I'll just show you a bit more of the demonstrative combat. And then once that's done, I'll film the boss fight as well. Hopefully there's a butcher in this dungeon, because I'd love to see that. But I won't waste your time trying to hunt everything down, or showing me hunting everything down. You can see that well enough on stream. Also, one little tip is save your Blood Mist. I always save my Blood Mist and fight at a distance where possible. Okay, because if you're in serious trouble, that's on a fairly long cooldown. I rarely ever get into serious trouble, which is something I should say, but it's still something that you should be aware of because sometimes troublesome situations do occur, and if you don't have your Blood Mist ready, or if you use it willy-nilly, you may end up in a bad situation. Alright, but for the most part, it's very easy to play this build. There are like 0 real techniques involved, no concentration involved either, just, you know, here's your enemy, shoot. If you get in trouble, Blood Mist, and shoot, and then they die, and then you pick up potions and shoot. You know, that's literally it. I wish, you know, there were more to it, but this is literally it. So I hope this combat demonstration helped to show you guys how this is played. I'll film the boss fight shortly, okay? And if there's a butcher fight, I'll try and film that too. Enjoy. Oh, and like, share, and subscribe. Bell button. Yeah, thanks guys. Okay, I killed all the Seaborn goddesses, so now just the Drowned Hag. In terms of boss fights, as you can see, you'll dish out a lot of damage even without your corpse tendrils triggering. After it does, basically just mag dump and then the boss is dead. Okay, so this is how to clear bosses with the Bone Spear Necro. Okay, enjoy. See you guys on the next one.